Welcome to the global phenomenon, Surviving the Survivor, where we're all just trying to survive in a rough world.
You really have to toughen up on your dogs and on your children and be nicer to your mother. Like, you know what the title of the book about the gangsters is, Joel? Did you know that?
No.
There is a book out on the gangsters, like, listen, the title of the book on the gangsters, they were nice to their mother.
Carm, we're live. So, but I'm not a gangster. So, but I'm always nice to you.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
always nice to you.
You are always nice.
Once again, we did the show in reverse and already spoke to our guests, which we'll tell you about in a minute. This is episodes, got to be high 40s, 46, 47. Who counts when you're having fun? This, by the way, is the only fun I have in 7 days.
Well, that's very flattering. I'm totally flattened out.
And in 2022 now, which is weird to say, you can't see your mother without one of these.
I refuse to see him without
This is
it.
not a pregnancy test. It is a at-home COVID test. A member of my family tested positive, and when I called Carmela today to tell her what time I was picking her up, she said, "Jane, I will not see you. I will not come. You better have a..." So I took a rapid COVID test yesterday. But
but the family member was not feeling well a week ago Monday.
We are
so that was 9 days
in Miami
ago.
right now. There are 80,000 people in Florida testing positive. So my 15-minute test yesterday, I still have not gotten the results 36 hours later. So I had to go get an at-home test, which my wife has been stockpiling like the federal government in our spare room, and had to show this to her. It's not 100% accurate, so let's hope I am negative.
Don't say it's not 100% accurate.
It's close.
He probably bought it on the street.
Today we have a man that if you are questioning your work ethic, if you're questioning if you're doing things tough enough, if you're being too easy on yourself, if you're too soft, if your kids are too soft, this is a man that has all the answers. Class act. He was late to the interview. Carmela was going to shred this guy to pieces. I had to talk her out of it.
It's not true. His secretary forgot to mark it down. He was totally innocent. And I don't attack innocence.
His name is Joe De Sena. He started something called Spartan and Death Races after making gobs of money on Wall Street.
Long time ago,
we were born in the same year. He's made a lot of dough. I've made next to none. He's started a successful brand.
And I know why he's successful.
And because he gets up early.
When we get up, I'll tell you why he's successful.
This is why our podcast is going to fail, because the shit that you tell me when we're not on the air, when you're yelling at me, you don't do it on... What were you going to say right now? Tell me right now what you're going to say. Say it.
He never says, I am feeling anxious and stressed. I'm not going to work on anything today. I'm going to watch a crime show. And then you stay up till 2 o'clock. The next day you say, Mom, I don't know why I'm so tired.
Carm, would you be happy if I went to northern Quebec, as you call it?
You see what I mean?
If I went to northern Quebec like Joe De Sena and I went ill-prepared in bike shorts and was paddling my way through ice water and surviving beneath the snow, would you be happy if I did that?
May I say something? Yeah. I don't have to know about it.
Here's what's crazy about me. I kind of want to train right now just to beat Joe De Sena and Dave Goggins, but I have a torn meniscus. We'll be right back.
He's so lucky with his torn meniscus.
We'll be right back with Joe De Sena.
Do you want to help my son? His company, Content Partners Media, specializes in brand video and content creation for innovative companies and others. Please go to www.contentpartnersmedia.com and hire him. I repeat, please go to www.contentpartnersmedia.com.
Welcome back to Surviving the Survivor. It's time now for the main schmooze.
It is time once again, Carm, for the main schmooze. And I know for this one, you have been practicing at the gym. How are your mud crawls coming along, Carm?
Well, you saw the video.
I did see the video. People don't believe it, but at 82 years old, you're still training twice a week with my father, who is 88. Is that correct?
But no, I don't train with him. We have different trainers. Okay.
However, your trainer just said what to you? Because Joe will take issue with this. What did she say?
I don't know what you're referring.
You just told me 5 seconds ago you're having an Alzheimer's moment.
Yes.
She said that you're a little soft. Something that Joe De Sena does not know
that
about.
was the woman who watches my husband.
So our guest right now is the inimitable Joe De Sena. Joe, how are you?
I'm doing great. But I'm nothing, and you're nothing compared to Carm. Is the real deal.
She is.
No, I'll tell you. I want 5 minutes to be able to show off to you. I am a major show off.
Carm, he's talking about the Holocaust not working out. But let me introduce Joe. Read the bio, and then we'll let you loose on Joe. Okay, so Joe De Sena, for those who've been living under a rock. First of all, happy birthday to Joe De Sena. He celebrated his birthday 3 days ago. Born the same year as yours truly, 53 years ago. The only difference...
52 years ago.
No, he's 53, and I will be 53.
Oh,
so you
yeah?
stand corrected.
Okay.
The only difference is Joe has actually accomplished something during that time, more than one thing, made some dough on top of it. He's the CEO and founder of Spartan and the Death Race, which sounds scary and is. He's also a New York Times bestselling author. His new book, 10 Rules for Resilience, Mental Toughness for Families, is already, as Trump would say, a huge success. Joe grew up in Howard Beach, Queens, where I came very close to dying while covering Superstorm Sandy for Fox 5 for about $3 an hour. It was not worth it. He then went on to Cornell, which I got into, by the way, didn't go like an idiot. And he had a very successful first career on Wall Street. In 1 year, Joe De Sena completed 50 ultra events and 14 Ironmans. Coincidentally, it was the same year I mustered up the energy to walk over to the Carvel by my house. Joe, welcome. How are you?
We had a Carvel in Howard Beach.
Carvel's the best. So here's a quick story. I'll get in trouble for this one.
No, don't do the Carvel. Just go to the...
Mike Littman, one of my oldest friends.
Forget about it. I knew. This is the problem. We are like an old married couple. I have a husband for 60 years. He's at
Mike
home.
Littman's father was a very successful businessman. He bought his son a Carvel out of college to learn business. And I used to make swirls there, and if I gave 1/1000th of an ounce more than I was supposed to the customer, Mike would scream at me. So that's that
your
story.
Carvel story. That's a classic.
Joe De Sena.
I want my kids to work at a Carvel. That work ethic that you just brought back to my memory back, in the neighborhood. I don't know. It just doesn't exist anymore with the young people.
Let me tell you, there's so many things that are going to pop up right now. I'm doing a live shot the other day. I've been working in broadcast news for 25 years now. And I'm doing, I forget the story. It was some boneheaded story. And I was doing the actual live shot in front of the American Airlines Arena where the Miami Heat play. And you always, at night, 11 o'clock for a live shot, you're always like on guard for someone that's going to come into your live shot and do something stupid or tackle you or whatever. So I see this group of kids. And they're like, 25 feet away and walking towards us. And I tell my camera woman, happened to be a woman, Claudia, I say, keep an eye on these guys. And when they get about 10 feet away from me, there's a moral to this story. The kid in front points to me and says, look at that loser. He's working. He's working for the man. He's working for a salary wage, he says to me. He goes, why aren't you in crypto? And I'm like, dude, I own some crypto. And he keeps walking back or past me. And I said, how's Ethereum going to be in 3 years? And he told me it'll be at 8,000. And I felt a lot better. But this kid was like 23 years old, ragging on me for working. What's going on with our society, Joe?
Tell you what, Carmen's probably jumping out of her skin. You hear people that are young saying, no need to work. We're just... we make free money with crypto. That's got to be annoying. What was it like when you were growing up, Carmen? Wasn't it? Very
honestly, not that different because I grew up in Yugoslavia, what was then communist Yugoslavia, and money was totally worthless. It was associated with monopoly money. So the children in the summer went to the lake, even as teenagers, and hung out during the day and did not work. And there was an American movie, Come Home Little Sheba was the title. And in that story, the children, teenagers, had summer jobs. Whatever, you had the summer job of cleaning pools. But these kids had all sorts of summer jobs in that movie. And my stepfather, who was a very bright man, said, you see, Carmela, this is what they do in normal societies. So it means that our society is not normal anymore.
Not normal. And I was just in Croatia, which was Yugoslavia, right?
Yeah, at that time, yeah.
And I had a guy call me yesterday and say, Joe, we got to put together a pack. I'm in such and such state and it's turning communist and you got to help me. And I said, look, I'm with you, but I got a farm in Vermont and that's pretty common. I got burned over there. And so, look, I'm sure every generation, every passing generation probably complains about the way the world is going, and it's not the way it used to be when we were growing up. And hopefully, I just hope, and I'm sure you guys hope, that everybody gets a little dose of reality. Who knows? Maybe we need a little depression. Wake people up. Who knows? Maybe everybody will start taking cold showers, doing burpees every day.
And carrying 100 pounds of stone up the mountain.
Carm, do you know what a burpee is?
No, this was honestly one of the questions I wanted to ask.
A burpee is when you're in a standing position and you jump down to a push-up position and back up.
It sounds a little harder.
Something Alex Nicholas used to torture me
but
with.
let's talk about
let's talk about this.
Spartan.
So Joe, our podcast really at the end of the day is about sort of tongue-in-cheek, but it's about survival. We're all living in a rough world. We're all trying to get by and survive. In 2000, here's a little story. Joe De Sena's team got stranded in the Quebec wilderness during a 350-mile winter adventure race, which does not sound fun to me. Joe had to dig himself beneath the snow to survive, and that's where you apparently made the distinction between difficult situations and desperate experiences, and that's what created this whole Spartan brand. Tell us about what happened that day and what sprouted as a result and the influence of survival in all of this.
Yeah, so I was with some friends who were highly experienced mountain climbers. They climbed Everest. They had done this and done that. And somehow I got sucked into this group doing these ridiculously long, sometimes multi-weeks expeditions crossing countries, continents. And this race that you just pinpointed in northern Quebec was like a warm-up. That was supposed to, that was ready to, Joe, we're just going to go win this thing. It'll be easy. And then it'll get us ready for the big stuff. And oh my God, it was so cold the day we took off. We were on these little rafts and they put us in the St. Lawrence River and there were giant chunks of ice floating. I mean, giant chunks of ice. The stuff that polar bears could like float on. And they were smashing into the boat and they duct taped these shoes on us that had spikes. And we had these oars that had spikes. And every time one of these giant floating pieces of ice smashed into us, we would jump out of the boat and our ice feet, the little spikes on our feet and the oars, we could move it out of the way and then we'd fall in the water. I mean, it was crazy. And that was the start of the race.
What are you wearing for this?
I had on like bike pants. I didn't know. I'd never done anything before, right? I had bike pants on. Thankfully, they were thick, so it was almost like a really thin wetsuit. And then just regular shirts and a jacket and a hat and all this stuff duct taped to me. Anyway, we got out of the other side of St. Lawrence, and I remember obviously freezing. Had to quickly change. Not like you could pull into a 7-Eleven or anything, right? You're changing in the snow, and then we're biking. And we're biking, I don't know, I'm out there like, whatever, let's call it 10, 12 hours. I remember being on the bike. And we had no food, but I was smart enough. I brought olive oil. Mm-hmm. I was drinking.
Oh, my God, you went to the bathroom afterwards.
to the bathroom. I was drinking the olive oil for calories, and
I would have been dead already.
And then we get to the cross country. We drop off our bikes. We get to the cross country skiing out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we're just heading north, Canada. And our cross country skis still have price tags on them because we never cross country ski. And it's like 100 miles of cross country skiing. And I remember, like, we're delirious. We can't see straight. Pulling over. My teammates were so experienced that they said, we gotta minimize the weight we carry. So they cut our tent in half so that the organizers could see that we had a tent. But in fact, it was only half a tent. It was wide open. So we lay down in this tent, and I'm like, what are we going to eat? We start a fire. We got a little thing to boil some snow into water. And I was so stupid. I had no experience. I had like these little carrots with me. They were like, why are you carrying carrots? The calorie to weight ratios. And I only had 3 of them. And I stuck them in the water, and we boiled carrots. And sure enough, everybody wanted my carrot soup. Right?
No offense, but these guys don't sound too experienced to me. These guys
No. They sound to me like they are suicidal.
Well, anyway, it goes on.
Did anybody ever really die?
No, but wait, did you really? So you get trapped under the snow, or you had to go under the snow?
Yeah, well, we got into a situation where the ropes, we were, I don't know, call it a 1,500-foot rock face. We were going to rappel down. And the ropes typically will be attached to the rock, and then you go to the next rope. And you unclip and clip onto the next rope. Well, one of the ropes had detached. So we found ourselves in a situation where we were stuck. We couldn't continue on. And we only had a half a tent. And we were freezing. And so the only solution was burying ourselves and using our body heat, kind of like Leonardo DiCaprio that gets inside of a dead horse.
Yeah.
We had to go to the snow cave and try to stay warm. I remember finally getting out of that situation 15 hours later and looking up at the mountain. We just finally worked our way down and thinking, I shouldn't be here. Like, I should be here. And it was a wake-up call. And but at the same time, it was extremely exhilarating, and it was transformational. And I said, I feel really alive. You don't feel alive watching Netflix. Your mom knows this. You feel alive when you brush up against death.
Well, I feel pretty alive.
Wait. So
no, I tell you something. I am trying to understand you. I made the mistake. I didn't buy your last book. I didn't realize that's the last one. And we should save some money because it's a very important topic.
The current book is 10 Rules for Resilience, Mental Toughness for Families. This one is the one that Carmela bought.
This is the one. It's a good beginner for that. But the point is, we need to talk about the 10.
Yeah, we're going to get there, Carm. But hold on a second.
Make sure, because it's about children.
We're going to get there. Joe will kick us off when he's got to go. But so,
wait, can I move her to my podcast?
Yes, please. We'll get to that in a minute. You got to have her on as a guest. We're trying to build up our brand, which I'm going to ask you about in a minute too. But Joe, this is what intrigues. So I'm the son, unfortunately, of a psychiatrist and her, which is why it came out a little troubled. But what is it in your fiber? This is what I'm trying to understand, where you feel the need to brush up against death and do this insane stuff, like to
push to the limit.
When you're doing these ultras, what are these, like 100-mile marathons?
Yeah, 50s, 100s, 300s. So
here's my question. I just want to try and get at, why are like the majority of derivatives traders on Wall Street like big fat slobs, and you're sitting here, you once did that, and now you're putting yourself in these really precarious situations to test your mettle?
I don't think he's playing with death. I think he's playing with his own endurance. Am I right?
Well, a couple of things, and you're the doctor here.
I am not the doctor. I have a master's.
Close enough.
Okay.
You're the idiots. So, I hate to put you in my category of idiot, but
I'll see in the end if I qualify.
Here's what I think. You tell me. What I think is, we love eating. We love sex. We love things that make you feel alive. I'm sorry, Mom, if you feel alive when you watch Netflix. I don't. I enjoy a good movie here and there, but I feel alive when I'm sweating, when I'm breathing. I had an incredible workout this morning. It was awesome on one of those fan bikes.
Yeah. What was the workout? I'm curious. Just on the bike?
I did 90 minutes on it, and every once in a while, I pumped out as hard as I could, 10 or 15 calories, and to the point where I couldn't breathe, where my eyeballs were popping out of my head.
Okay.
And it obviously sucks, right? You can't catch your breath or whatever, but I don't know. I can go to a place when that's happening and says, "Isn't this great? I'm alive. Like this is a privilege." I know so many people that went to jail for 25, 35 years. I know so many people that died, including most of my family are dead and gone. And so I just appreciate life. I mean, look, Man in the Arena, that incredible speech, right?
I have that hanging on my wall for my boy, by the way.
Yeah, my kids have to reference it and repeat it over and over and over. And I agree with that speech, which is, you got to be the man or the woman in the arena. Your face has to be marred by dust and sweat and blood, and you got to live life. It's not meant to be protected like a little fragile ballerina.
Can it come in different forms though? And I'll tell you. So for me, I work.
It could be going on stage at Carnegie Hall and playing whatever.
Well, so that's my so for me, I was in broadcast news for 25 years. I left of my own volition for a bunch of reasons, and news is a business where tragedy brings you back. So when that building collapsed here in Florida, they called me in, but when I was out of it, I really anytime you're on live television, there's an adrenaline rush, and I really miss that. So is that something? I never get used to it. I'm always a little scared when I'm on TV because there's that. You're exposing yourself. Is that a form of what you're talking about that brings you close to
I don't
living?
think so.
It is a form, but I married it with something that's healthy. I mean, there's no question that sweating and breathing heavy and getting your heart pumping is healthy for you. There's no question. Anybody that disagrees with that shouldn't be alive. They should go disappear. Like that, you have to operate the body the way it was meant to be operated if you want to live longer and healthier and happier. So you got to do that work. But of course, you get an adrenaline rush. Getting electrocuted, you get an adrenaline rush. And talking with Mike, you get a. But I tend to do the things that I believe are more healthy. It could be a hot yoga class, could be a workout, could be not eating before 9 a.m. and eating, ending my meals at 5, staying away from the unhealthy stuff, eating more salad. I just try to do more healthy stuff because I'm so happy on this planet, and I want to stay here as long as I can.
And healthy. You want to stay here healthy. George Burns lived to be 102, and he said something very funny. He said, if I would have known that I'm going to live this long, I would have taken better care of my body. Because it's not only, I see now I'm surrounded with old people. It's not only that you are alive, but how are you alive? And no offense, but after 65, if you didn't take care of yourself, you get worse. But I have a question. I have a daughter and son-in-law in New Jersey who have an exercise room in their basement during COVID, and they work out all the time. He's a cardiologist, so he's scared. But he hurt his knee. I think when people overdo it, sometimes their joints...
Joe, Jews don't tell you that their son-in-law is a doctor anymore. They have to tell you the specialty. Hey, he's a cardiologist.
Well,
he's special.
But it's his heart. He's specialized. He knows how bad it is if you don't take care of your heart. They say sitting is the new the smoking. Sitting is the new smoking. The question I have for you, very simple. When I read all the activities that you do, I am wondering, what does it do to your joints, your knees, your hips? If it affects them, are you in pain?
He's in a wheelchair right now.
Oh, here's my answer to that. Knock on wood. I've been really fortunate. My wife was a high level soccer player, and so I look at the body as a skeleton, like you'd see in the doctor's office on those old TV.
Yeah.
Right, you see the skeleton, and then what's attached to the bones is a bunch of rubber bands, the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments. And if you overuse certain ones over and over and over, and they get tight, and you don't make them loose, and you don't make them supple, well, then the structure, that skeleton, gets tweaked and thrown out of order. And so knees start to hurt, back starts to hurt. And so I don't do it at high speed. I do everything kind of, when I run pretty slow. I don't run that fast. I don't bike that, and I do a lot of yoga. I stretch out. I pay attention. If my body starts to hurt, I work on it right away. That's the difference, I believe. There's a way to do enormous volumes of work to make your heart healthy and move blood around, which is very important, without damaging joints and muscles and ligaments and tendons. There's a way to do it.
So, Joe, I know you've been on Rogan. Not sure if you're friends with him or not. But he keeps harping on kind of this COVID hysteria instead of the government focusing more on getting people healthy, because the majority of these people who are dying are, and I don't want to sound, like I'm not compassionate or insensitive, but do you agree with that? I mean, you think there's a much bigger problem in this country? You have obesity and all these other kind of comorbidities like diabetes, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, do we have to become more healthy?
My dad was diabetic. He had many heart surgeries. All of it was lifestyle driven. Carmen is right. It's about health span. How long are you healthy within your life? Or you don't want to be unhealthy for the last 10 years. So I would agree with Joe. And I would say the masks that we're all wearing should really have been like Hannibal Lecter masks that don't allow food in our mouth. The only thing you can get in was a green smoothie. That's the kind of masks we should have been wearing. The Biden and Trump and whoever's in charge of CDC, Fauci, should have mandated everybody does 30 burpees every morning, every night. They should have turned all the hot water off in the country. We should all be taking cold showers to really get the immune system going. We're all chronically dehydrated. Everybody's drinking too much alcohol, too much coffee. We should be drinking more water. That's where all the effort, in my opinion, should have gone. Rather than the way we did it. But who the hell am I? What
do you eat in a day? Walk me through your daily diet.
I'm a little screwed up here the last 3-4 days because I'm moving to Florida. But in a normal day, a perfect day for me would be I'd have a couple of eggs in the morning over easy with a salad. That would be around 9 a.m. For lunch, I'd have a salad. For dinner, I might have veggies and a piece of salmon. I very rarely eat meat. But I will have, if I'm in the mood for a burger, I'll have it without the bun. That's maybe once every 2 months. So not a lot of meat, a little bit of fish, and I try to eat a lot of salad.
What happened? You couldn't handle the cold of Pittsfield, Vermont anymore?
No, I did Florida because I was having a tough time with COVID getting people to come back to the office. We have an office in Boston, 3 hours outside the farm.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't get them back to the office. So I said, all right.
The employees you couldn't get back.
Yeah, the employees. So I'm going to go to a place where I think I can more easily get people to an office because I'm more productive if I can get people to an office. So it was between Indianapolis and Orlando, Florida. And I picked Orlando because I found the greatest wrestling coach ever for my boys and soccer coach for the girls. In a little school here in Orlando called Lake Highland Prep. And it's literally like I found Gene Hackman, Mick from Rocky, a little bit of Drago and Apollo Creed, all mixed into one super set of coaches who take no fucking prisoners. And I'm watching my kids do 2-a-days the last 3 days, and I'm like so inspired.
This is awesome. Now, let's get to the book. So the book is, once again, 10 Rules for Resilience, Mental Toughness for My Families. Now, I've got a 7-year-old turning a girl, a 6-year-old whose birthday was 2 days before, 1 day after yours, and a 2-year-old boy who is turning 3. And is it wrong that I want my 3-year-old to be a UFC light heavyweight champion? And when do I start him, and how much pressure do I exert, and what is too much? And is it too late for my girls?
No, it's not too late. I was on the phone. My buddy is the wrestling coach at Stanford. My other buddy's a wrestling coach at Cornell. And he was saying to me this morning that, like, by 10th grade, it's hard if you want to play at the highest level, if you're not really honed in with skills at that point. So 3-year-old, not too early, based on my experience. What the hell do I know as a parent? I've got, my oldest is a 16-year-old, so I don't have as much experience as mom has, but I will tell you, 3-year-old, you get going on that 3-year-old right away. Get going on all the kids. It requires, my wife and I were arguing this morning because I said, what are the girls doing? At 5:45 a.m., the boys were heading over to, a heavy duty practice, music blasting, sweating, soaking before school, had to take showers, right? This is at 5:45 a.m. What are the girls doing? Oh, we're going to turn on, we do a little class in the living. What are you talking about? It's not a real workout. Go up and down the stairs in the building. Have them carry dumbbells. We're training, professionals here.
I can't wait to play this back for my wife. So I played competitive tennis growing up. By the way, I have a torn meniscus. What are your thoughts on that? Do I need to get surgery because I can't really run on it?
If you can't run on it, you got to go to hospital for special surgery. If you need a connection, I was in a car accident. I was thrown out the window of a car at 85 miles an hour. My leg was down on my hip.
Oh my God!
And Sue,
yeah,
connected with it. Hospital for special surgery saved me because everybody said, "Oh, Joe, you got to get a wheelchair, crutches." And I just kept going to doctors until I found one that gave me the answer I wanted. He's the guy.
Wow! How long ago was this?
It was the year I did all that shit.
Wow.
Before it was 20. I don't even know when the hell it was. 2004.
By the way, could you kick David Goggins' ass in like an ultra or what?
No, he's fast. He came to one of my races. We competed once. I believe David and I both did, I'm not sure, Badwater at the same time. I think it was the year, it was like 134 degrees. Either he or Dean Karnassus had a blowout that year just because of the heat. Mm-hmm. I did pretty well at that event because we went easy. As I mentioned before, Carmen, we went really easy. So 134 degrees, hard to go too fast. And then at night when it was 95 degrees, we were able to pick up the pace.
Listen, I said David Goggins' name and I saw your eyes light up. Like, so what goes on in that little brain of yours when you hear David Goggins' name? You want to beat that
brain.
You want to beat that guy. I know you do.
Oh, I know David. Yeah.
No, let me tell you, the rule here is you don't have to answer everything we ask you.
I mean, I like Goggins, but honestly, like, I become immune to him because he just says the same shit over and over 1 billion times. I mean,
but it's a good message. What do you want?
He's extremely fast. He was a Navy SEAL. I was not a Navy SEAL. Yeah. There's not like, he is light years ahead of me, but and I spend a lot of time on business. I'm in front of a computer. I'm doing emails. He's getting to chop wood out in the forest, fighting fire. So he's got a natural advantage.
Yeah, may I say?
Carmen, it's your show. You can say whatever you want.
There are so many thoughts I have that you won't have a chance to say anything else because I'm going to talk from. No, I feel that it's very crucial to discuss how we really let the children sort of become almost inert and very permissive and go on and on. And I feel in hindsight that I did the same thing, okay? And I don't know if you know of this or remember or heard, I'm sure you know, Dr. Spock was like the Bible of how to raise children, very permissively.
Not Star Trek, the other Spock.
The other Spock, the doctor. And I think, and I listened to a few podcasts that you did with a few people.
You raised a Central Jersey Group 1 state champion in tennis.
Yes. But the thing is that we do raise our children very permissively and very overprotective. I am very overprotective. I don't blame it on the Holocaust, but in some way, this is the post-Holocaust way of like, God forbid when a kid goes into the next room, you say, be careful, just going from one room to the other. The point is that your approach is the right approach to make them a little tougher. So,
well, why? Look, at 52, I've never made money. I host a podcast with my mom, and Joe has made gazillions, has his own.
Yeah, but I think Joe was cut out of a different cloth, and he had a different background.
Well, here's the thing, Joe.
Now that you mentioned that your father was not well with diabetes and heart surgeries, and I think you are running because of that too. Maybe not consciously.
Well, my mom was into yoga, meditation, health food in the 70s before anybody was. She introduced me to a 3,100-mile run before I was 10 years old in Queens, New York, a 1-mile loop that you do 3,100 times. So I saw a little taste of what the other side is.
Yeah.
Versus Chinese food, raviolis, cannolis every night, and watching TV and getting unhealthy like my dad's side of the family and smoking cigars and all that, like most successful men did in the 70s and 80s. And I remember just looking through a set of glasses and saying, why, if you're so successful in business or in relationship or family, whatever, why do you have to sacrifice your health? Why can't you treat yourself like an Olympian across all parts of your life? The same way an Olympian, a top tennis player, whatever, would treat themselves. They'd eat healthy, they go to bed early. Why can't you do all that? And so that's really what my father left too soon. My mother died of cancer. Her mother died of cancer. Like, I saw so much death that the other thing is I used to clean swimming pools, and a swimming pool has a pump and a filter and 20,000 gallons of water. The human body is like 13 gallons of water. It has a pump and a filter. If I throw French fries and coffee and hamburgers and all the garbage that we eat into a swimming pool, 20,000 gallons, and I turn the pump off and I don't clean the filter, it turns green. I don't want to be green. I don't want to be green. So I want to run my pumps, I want to clean my filters, and I want to make sure I'm not loading it with garbage.
How much water do you drink a day?
I just picked it up. By the way, I'm going to send you a bunch of copies of this little book I wrote, which you don't even know about, called Ready for Anything. It's a little pamphlet about everything we're talking about. Your mom's going to love it. And in that book, I talk about 2 glasses of water that I learned from an old Italian guy years ago. He said, you wake up in the morning, you got 2 glasses of warm water with a little bit of lemon, apple cider vinegar. I've been doing that forever. But about a week ago, I said, I heard from I got connected to a Japanese professor. And he said, you got to drink a liter of water every morning. So now I'm on a liter as of a week ago. And I got to tell you, I feel better.
Really?
I feel better. A liter of water first thing when you wake up. I like it.
I mean, how long does it take you to drink the liter?
I'm looking at my emails a little bit. I'm drinking the liter. I'm probably done in 20 minutes.
Do you drink anything else besides water?
I had a kombucha right before we got on this thing. I'm giving the air to other kombucha. I like kombucha, but I'm pretty much a water guy.
Interesting. So back to your book and back to kids, because this obviously is personal to me. So my wife is exceptionally smart, has all the qualities, very attractive, smart, etc., etc. She could be whatever she wants to be. She's a great mom. She's a news person too. But my point is this, like, I take my kids to a tennis lesson, and Vita, my oldest, is very talented. Like, I can see her strokes. But my wife says, she's got to want to do it. Does she like to do it? And Vita is like, I have this, I don't know where I get this from, but I'm sort of insane. But my wife is constantly like playing it down. How do you negotiate a spouse who's not on board with torturing your child?
Well, the way I did it was I hired a kung fu master. I had a kung fu master living in our farm. And what I did was, reflecting back, I got lucky that the barn was, 50 feet away from the house. So all that activity, all that hard work was going on with the kung fu master in the barn. My wife didn't know it. We found out years later how hard it was. What I found, what you have to tell Vita is, listen, the kids don't want to do it. Just like the number one motivator for a human being, the number one motivator is the avoidance of discomfort. We don't even know we're doing it. We're doing it subconsciously. It's what kept us alive on the planet. We don't fall off cliffs. We don't freeze to death, right? We avoid discomfort. You wake up in the morning with the intention to work out. Before you know it, you're making a cup of coffee. Why are you making a cup of coffee? You're going to work out. Why are you reading the news? You're going to work out. Because your brain is saying, don't do the hard thing. You got to relax. You got to take it easy. You got to remain, in homeostasis. So knowing that, we have to take our kids and put them into discomfort, put them into adversity, create obstacles in their way. And then before you know it, just like Charlie, Jack, Catherine, Alex, my kids, before you know it, the shit they hated to do, they're good at. And they're liking it. And they're doing it on their own. And Charlie's the best example because Charlie would drive me crazy. I would drop him off at wrestling practice, and he might as well have been a dead fish. I was like, this has got to be the wrong kid. Can't be my kid. This is impossible. This kid's exercising. He's not doing it. I would want to choke him at the end of practice. But I just decided, I said, you know what? I'm just going to keep bringing you to practice. I'm going to torture you. You're going to go to so many damn practices. You're going to be the strongest kid that doesn't know how to wrestle because you're not paying attention.
You worry that they're going to resent this though? And, and like be doing like, crack in a few years or?
I'm not seeing it. What I'm seeing now is complete engagement in their sports, in their, by the way, homework. I love it because it's so easy relative to the other stuff. Right? Hey guys, you can watch as much TV as you want as long as it's in Mandarin. Right?
No, they speak Mandarin.
Do they really?
They really do.
What Mandarin? Right? Like
they taught them Mandarin from a young age.
Do you speak Mandarin?
No, I don't know how to speak Mandarin.
He
had a nice father.
Yeah, this is I don't know. So I'm a huge fight fan, and whatever. I've been a huge fight fan for years. So I tell everyone I want my kid to be like the 155-pound UFC champ, and they think I'm absolutely crazy. Yell at me, tell me I'm a you are
in the wrong environment.
How could I do that? There's CTE. It's whatever. But you have this slogan which I love, which is choose your hard. What? Explain what that means.
Just bear with me a second. I'm going to answer that question. I got to plug in my computer.
No worries. Carm, what do you think of the great Joe De Sena? This is our halftime here. What do you think?
Oh, halftime? Well, he didn't disappoint me, but I want him to tell you something very important that you conveniently, I am sure you forgot to hear.
I love these Queens guys.
I like.
And he's back, and he is back. So, Joe, what was
you guys talking? Wait, you guys keep talking because I got to tell you another story I got to deal with right now for 2 seconds.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
So
you guys keep going.
We will.
What did I conveniently forget to ask Joe?
One of the most important things for you personally is absolutely brilliant.
You personally is redundant. I hate it's a pet peeve. Me personally, you personally. It's
an emphasis. It's an underlying.
It's a redundancy.
Okay, redundancy. So you.
Yeah. What did I forget to ask?
There is a story there that you should hear. He said people should not put their alarm clocks at what time they want to wake up in the morning. They should put their alarm clocks at what time they will go to bed. And he says there is nothing much happens after 10 p.m. and people should go to sleep early and get up early, and they will accomplish more in life.
That's a big problem of mine.
You are self-indulgent much more than I am.
That my circadian rhythm is, I'm much more alert at night, Joe.
It doesn't matter, but...
Nonsense. Stop the nonsense. I'm tired of people saying I'm a night person. We've been on the planet for 1 million years. We go to bed when the sun goes down. We wake up when the sun goes up. All this nonsense is just your brain creating, your mom knows this term, confirmation bias. You're just confirming your
cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance.
Exactly. Well, he's creating a story that fits what he...
Exactly.
And so
He lies to himself. He lies to himself because what he does, he says, I'm so stressed, I'm going to watch a crime video to relax.
Murder.
And then the next, he's like, Freud created him as a sample for himself. In the morning, he says, you want to hear what I dreamt? I said, no. Because I know that he will dream, that people will torture him and the horror stories. If you go to sleep at a normal hour and you think of pleasant things before, you're going to have wonderful dreams.
What time do you go to bed, Joe?
10.
Last night I was in bed by 8:45.
And what time are you up?
I'm up at 4:45.
Wow. What time are your kids up?
That's why he's successful. And he works all day long.
You got to get up early. So I don't want to hear your nonsense. My wife's got the same thing. Oh, I'm a night person. I'm a night person. Well, listen, if you work a night shift, if you're working in a hospital as a nurse and that's one thing. But you won't be a night person if you wake up super early and you go to bed early. You won't be a night person. It doesn't take long. And there's nothing good happening at 11 p.m. Look, if you own a nightclub, I say, okay, there's some good things happening at night. He's making some money. If you but what's happening after 10 p.m.? You're watching a crime scene movie? Come on, stop.
So listen, you choose hard. I love this. Real quick. So my dad was a psychiatrist for 40-something years. And he studied with a guy named Thomas Zoss, who's very famous but hated in the field of psychiatry. He wrote a book called The Myth of Mental Illness. And he was kind of like a pariah in the world of psychiatry because he said there really is no such thing as mental illness. It's all choice. My dad, when you would go to ask him for advice, he didn't call it Nike. For whatever reason, my dad called it Nike. He'd say, you know the Nike slogan? Just do it. That was my dad's answer to everything as a psychiatrist. You come in with, I feel depressed, I feel tired, I feel anxious, so-and-so would call. Just do it, my dad says. And in spite of how you feel, that was my dad's advice.
That's what Joe does.
What do you think of that? What do you think of Nike and my dad's philosophy?
I love your dad because when I was growing up, I was hiring kids to work for me in the pool business. And I remember hearing that, like, I'm depressed. I don't know what kind of job I want. I was like, I don't understand. I just got to make payroll. Like, I don't have time to be depressed. I don't have time to say I don't know what kind of job I want. Then I started doing some research in like third world countries, and I noticed they don't have as many psychologists. They don't have as many depressed people because they're just trying to eat. They're trying to work every day and just get ahead and have a fucking pillow to put their head on. So when you have too much stuff and you have the wherewithal to just not do anything, I mean, I love your dad's slogan. Just do it. Stop talking. Stop the nonsense.
And then the excuse is, I'm too stressed. I have to unstress. You unstress by taking a run or by going on a bicycle. I don't get that.
I have a torn meniscus. No, you know what I've learned from this? I could probably be more tough mentally. Joe, would you sponsor me like an AA sponsor? Can I like check in with you to?
No, he has enough in his life, but you can join his thing. He'll be right in Florida now.
Yeah.
I have people that do that with me. Hey, Joe, I'm going to check in every week. Hold me accountable. You know what happens?
Yeah.
For 8 weeks, they stop sending me ings.
Yeah, that's another problem.
I'll jog
consistency. You value all those things. Consistency. Reliability.
Well, Carm, let's get. So I want to go. I'm going to run.
I get very upset when we talk about these things because I feel that you could do better in this area.
Well, Joe, but I want to get into these. How much do you have? A few minutes left.
I think I got to run, but we could rattle through them quick. Hang on a second. Let me get assistant. Do I?
He gave us more than enough time.
I like to.
My feeling is, look, there's 10 rules of resilience. If you don't want to buy the book, just send me an email, joe@spartan.com. I'm happy to help you out. But the bottom line is, you make your kids wake up early, make them work out, make them drink more water, make them eat more salad. They got to do some hard stuff. You could send them to the camp we have up in Vermont. I'll do it for free. We torture the kids, including my own. Okay. And they just get so outside their comfort zone, and they do stuff that's so ridiculous compared to normal society that they gain confidence. And they say to themselves, oh my God, I can do a lot more than I think I can. So, for example, just to give you an example, a rope climb is a very hard thing to do. People have a tough time climbing a rope, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the camp, I had the kids climb 300 times in a row. That's ridiculous. That's impossible.
Yeah.
How I can't do one? How would I do 300? Well, just do it, your dad would say.
Mm-hmm.
And so for 8 or 10 hours, and they go up and down the rope, and their hands bleed, and their shoes fall apart, and they're crying. But when they get it done, they're able to reference that thing they did in their mind, just like your mom could reference the Holocaust or Yugoslavia. And when the next time they're facing something hard, like, oh my God, Wi-Fi doesn't work in the house, my life is falling apart, or the cryptocurrencies are, you reference the 300 rope climbs and you're like, it's not that bad. I did some hard stuff in my life.
So, Joe, real quick on the Holocaust. So, Carm is one tough bitch. She is, and I say that lovingly. No one. By the way, she was going to rip you apart for being late to this podcast, and I said, please don't, because she's got like 1 million Instagram followers.
It's not true. I only ripped Joel apart.
She was going to tear you apart, and I said, please don't. She's a tough woman, man. But can you? I mean, so she saw her dad get ripped out of the house, taken by Nazis. She was hidden. She had to eat.
No,
it's
boring. I wasn't even 5.
Can you replicate? Like, can you?
I want to ask you more interesting.
She's built of a different fabric. That's what I'm saying, and it's hard to replicate that.
No. It's like because after World War II, like in Yugoslavia, after the war, for example, you couldn't find a comb. We were hiding, then we went back, I was with nuns, and we went back to this small town, and we couldn't have a comb. You couldn't buy a plate. You couldn't buy ready-made clothes. Your grandmother sewed your underwear and everything. It wasn't like these American kids. I have a question.
Make it quick, because he's got to go, and I have one more.
I have just one question for you, which would be an interesting thing to think about. Is there any culture today, the Japanese or any other culture, where the kids are not spoiled rotten to death?
Yeah, Africa.
Yeah, obviously you can go to places where it's more rugged, like inner cities in India. I love the fact that Israel still has a mandatory military. It's a rite of passage, right? The folks in Africa that they send the kids out in certain countries in Africa where they got to go kill a lion. That's their rite of passage. The problem, here's the analogy for anybody listening or watching. Do you want your kid to grow up in a greenhouse and be the plant that can't handle the outside when it's raining and windy and maybe there's no sun? Or do you want to be your kid to be the plant that grows up on the side of the mountain and the roots wrap around the rock and they handle the storm? Because we're not going to be around as parents forever. We're raising adults. And we want, so going back to your original question, which I didn't answer, choose your hard. You could either choose your hard now and grow up on the side of the mountain with the roots wrapping around, or you could choose your hard later when you're a delicate plant and the wind blows and you fall over. You decide.
Let me ask you, if you're 52 years old like me, about to be 53, born in the great year 69, is it too late, or can I still become a man? Can I still grow? And by the way, I told my mother when she dies, I'll have to kill myself. But anyway.
Down inside, we are all wired to be tough mofos. We're wired to survive. We come out of our mother's womb. I mean, that alone is a
major achievement.
Right? And we used to cross the country in horse and wagon, and grandmas would die, and wives would give birth, and wheels would get broken, and we get stuck in snowstorm. It's all there, but you just got to dust it off. And so the way to dust it off is to manufacture a little adversity in your life. It's not going to match what your mother went through, but you can get a little taste of it.
But you know what? He romanticizes what I went through. I was a little child. I was carried through the Holocaust, more or less. So he just uses this thing, to reference me. It's kind of gives him an identity, but that's not my main identity.
Joe,
the last 82 years is my main identity.
Two quick things. Ed Koch always used to say, "How am I doing?" That was his famous line. So how do you think our podcast is? Give us the...
I had dinner with Ed Koch. I was sitting in a restaurant alone. He was sitting in a restaurant alone. I walked over. I think you guys are doing great. I love your mom. I think you're awesome. I'd come back anytime. I'll help you guys. whatever you need.
And that was
He's
my
very generous.
he is.
Don't always ask for things. We said that.
Joe is super successful at building a brand. What do we need to do to get this?
We have to ask him how can we help him to build it up again after COVID.
Joe,
that's what we have to
What's
ask.
your one piece of advice for building our personal brand?
No, but we want to help him build his because he's working on it too after COVID.
I think you guys got to do some TikTok stuff. TikTok is where everybody is right now. You got to get mom on TikTok, and
you should have heard me. I taped a rap.
Oh yeah, we had a rap artist and Carmen rapped, so we'll send that.
Anything we'll do is pick a race, one of the Spartan or Tough Mudder races. We'll get you and mom to come out and do it. We'll film it. I got to run. Susan's calling me.
Okay. Listen, we love you. We thank you. And I knew from the podcast and I knew from your book that you are a great guy. And so I qualify you as the great guy. And be well.
Joe De Sena, you're awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. It is 10 rules for resilience.
Welcome to Florida.
Welcome to Florida.
See you guys.
Take care, Joe.
Bye.
Right back with the new schmooze.
Welcome back. It's time for the news schmooze.
By the way, Joel, are we now recording?
We're back, Carm. We're always recording.
Okay.
And this is the new schmooze. What were you going to say now that you wouldn't say because now you know you're on the air? And which is why our podcast is going to fail because everything you say to me, you refuse to say on TV. So what were you going to say?
No, that you remember how we taped that thing, the new slogan?
And by the way, he said we need to get on TikTok.
Everybody says TikTok is the new whatever.
I'm going to put your new rap out on TikTok. It's weird how these guys know what's up. Like he knows where the brand has to move to, and he's moving it to TikTok. Doing the news schmooze right now. The whole focus of the podcast is how do we survive in a rough? How do we survive in a rough world? Well, will America survive? That's kind of the first news story here. By the way, happy 1/6 day. It's almost the anniversary of
Is it today 1/6? Tomorrow.
It was a year ago that Grant, our producer, was super late because he was watching the insurrection unfold. Jenna Ryan, 51, reported to prison December 21st. In an interview with NBC News 5 days earlier, she expressed regret for entering the Capitol on 1/6, but still portrayed herself as a victim. Carmela always says that I portray myself as a victim. She went so far to assert that the backlash she has received is akin to the experience of the Jews in Germany. They're making fun of my skin color. They're calling me an insurrection Barbie. They have no idea who I am as a person, what my beliefs are, what I've been through, who I am, she added. They see me as a one-dimensional character. They don't see me as a human. And so that is the epitome of a scapegoat, just like they did that to the Jews in Germany. Carm?
Who is this person?
Her name is Jenna Ryan, 51. She's now serving time for the insurrection on January 6th.
She was in the Capitol?
Correct. She says that they're doing to her what they did to the Jews in Germany. Your response?
No, they are not.
How come?
What?
Elaborate.
They didn't gas her yet.
I'm worried about dying young now because I haven't been really disciplined.
No problem dying young. You can die young.
That's what's going on in my
middle-aged.
Does it bother you that she's using this whole Germany analogy?
I don't have ownership of that. I don't care what she uses.
Will news survive? All part of surviving the survivor. Just trying to survive in a rough world. Engagement with news content plummeted last year compared to 2020.
You loved it. You loved it.
There's a continued decline in interest in news related to COVID-19, politics, and it doesn't look like 2022 will be any better. With Trump gone, the COVID-19 pandemic beaten to death, it looks like people have lost interest, and the numbers tell the story. Primetime news viewership is down 36% across the three major cable networks, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and of course my wife's News Nation, which is up. App downloads for the top 12 mainstream publishers dropped 33%. Engagement on social media with news articles nosedived, dropped 65%, and websites with the top performing news websites are down about 8%. Does it surprise you, Carm, as a son who's a news broadcaster, that people are just shutting the news off at this point?
No, because there have been so many lies on both sides, and there have been absolutely too much to say about nothing. What is the Shakespeare play?
Much ado about nothing.
Much ado about nothing.
You know, here's my thing. After talking to Joe, like, can somebody change their mental makeup, their fabric? Can I get up and exercise consistently? Can I become positive?
Well,
like,
who knows that?
Can I become
Who knows?
positive?
I love that analogy when you say, will this little bird live? And you hold the little bird in your hand. And you say, it depends on you. If I say this bird will live and you squeeze it too hard, it will die. If I say this bird will die and you hold it very gently, it will live. It's in your hands. It's not in anybody. To ask the question, you have to be.
It's weird while you were giving me that analogy, I had like a very demented, quick image of me squashing that bird to death and watching its guts bleed out. On to story number 3. This story really touched my heart. At the ripe old age of 59, Mama, do you know who she was?
No.
Mama had defied the average life expectancy of a chimp by all accounts. But as she was hit by a lengthy illness at 59, the elderly chimp was refusing food and she stayed curled in a ball until what?
Until she died.
Wrong. Until
her master showed up.
Her old zookeeper showed up. His name is Jan van Hoof. He took care of her for 4 decades. At first, the video shows Mama taking a few moments to recognize Van Hoof, and then she suddenly gets up and screeches, a gleeful screech, and appears to break into a wide grin as she extends his arm and jumps on him and hugs him and will not let go. How does that make you feel?
That they're wired like us.
You believe in evolution?
Yes, I do believe in evolution.
Your husband doesn't. He thinks that God just created everything.
Well, they can twist it and kind of fit one into the others. It's called circling the square or squaring the circle or something.
Can you admit to the audience that from the age of like 5, I was always infatuated with chimps and animals?
Yeah, there was always a danger that you're going to get one.
Ethel's bad enough. Mabel's refined. Ethel's not. We'll be right back with 3 questions for Grandma.
It's time now for 3 questions for Grandma.
That's so cute.
Yes, it is.
Show everybody.
We're going to show everyone. This week, they decided that they were going to write the questions, which you can't see if you're listening on Spotify, but there they are. The actual questions for Grandma. 3 questions for Grandma. I'm going to start to get them, they're on this podcast, asked. So question number 1. Learn how to spell Learn how to spell, kids. Learn how to spell.
Okay.
How does soda have bubbles? That's Zizi's question. And on the top it says questions for the podcast for Grandma. How does soda have bubbles? 3 B's and bubbles.
Well, they have to observe when I make a seltzer or soda. I have a machine from SodaStream, and I put the water bottle under it. It hooks in, and the carbon something. What carbon dioxide or what comes into it?
It's carbonation.
Carbonation, because carbon
dioxide
dioxide
will
would kill you.
Yeah.
Right. And then it comes into it, and you can see the little bubbles going all over.
Next question. God, Joe De Sena would hang his kids upside down until they learn how to spell does correctly. DOES, not DOC. Why does the pool look like it can hold you up, but it does not hold you up?
Well, water, our bodies are heavier than the water, so they go under it. It's a question of the weight of the human body.
And the last question, which I thought was an interesting one.
But it does look like you could walk on the water. Some people in the past walked on the water. Or one person, anyway.
This is from the great Z-Bugs, who turned 6 years old 2 days ago. I love her to death. Got to toughen up. Why do you only see part of the moon and not the whole moon?
It's covered by...
the sun, maybe?
No, then it would be light if it would be covered by the sun.
I have no idea. Why do you only see part of the moon?
Now I have to go and Google it.
I never paid attention to.
No, because
astronomy.
it.
You know what my answer is? Because you can only see part of the.
The shade of the Earth goes on the moon as we move. The moon is a satellite of the planet Earth. The moon moves around the Earth. They together move around the sun, but the moon is a satellite. It follows the Earth.
And that's why every 30 days we've got a whole moon.
Exactly, full moon.
Carm, what do you think of the show today? We've got to get you on TikTok ASAP.
It was slightly discombobulated, but it was excellent.
Love you, America.